All right, everybody, I'm back to continue the attempt to catalog all my cold steels. This is the collection video part 2. These are fixed blades, not including machetes or swords or other implements that they sell that I might have. All right, I'm going to start with the smaller ones, the neck knives and such, and then move up to the big ones. But before I do, I would like to show you the cold steel that started it all for me. Here it is. It's the cold steel Master Tanto from about 1987. I bought this in a Remington knife shop in the old and defunct Randall Park Mall. Incidentally, you can find some haunting pictures of that mall once it fell into decay online. Someone did a photojournalist story about that place. This is the Master Tanto, beautifully hollow ground. I've had it since I was a junior in high school and it's been with me ever since, and it's always lived next to the bed. The Master Tanto. I'm going to leave this here for now, but I'm going to, this was a teaser to some of the nicer, bigger knives, but I'm going to start with some of the smaller ones. And this one, the Pendleton Light. These are the really inexpensive knives they sell with the Krupp, what is it, 4116 steel and plastic handles, but they are super robust and capable little knives. Great for, this lives in my wife's bug out bag. This one I keep in the car. I've done a collection selection video of this. This is a sheath I made for it. This is the Roach Belly. It's an old American design, this pattern, and it's just a great knife, this cold steel version. And this, like this, it's only about 15 bucks or something, 12 bucks. And what a great knife. I knew a guy who kind of just rambled around for a few years and did a lot of camping and just moving around a lot. And this was the one knife he had. And not this particular one, but he had this version. And it comes with this sheath. And it served him well for like 3 years for all sorts of chores. So I know that even the most, inexpensive of these knives is extremely capable. Next we have this is something that I keep in my bug out bag. It's sort of their version of the Mora, and sort of their version of the Mora survival sort of thing. It's got the Scandi grind. It's got that same 4116 Krupp steel and a hollow handle. And I have this, I have paracord in there. Never really used it. I think maybe I used it once or twice to make kindling for the fire pit, but haven't gone camping with it or anything like that. This is an old one I bought at Roseland Martial Arts in New York City back in the day, the mid-90s. Cool knife. It's the Culloden. Look at that jimping. And they were doing jimping before jimping was fashionable, and this is what it looked like. Great purchase. And I have a little paracord wrapped on there just to beef up the handle a bit. Great knife. Probably the first fixed blade sort of knife that I carried concealed. A great, what is this, the Safe Maker? The Safe Maker piece, the Safe Keeper 2. That's a 3.5 inch double-edged push dagger. Circa late 90s, this version. But an earlier version with a leather sheath was featured in Platoon. Tom Berenger had it on his tack vest or whatever he was, his flak vest, I guess. And in one scene, he takes it off and cuts a little cut in Elias's, that was Willem Dafoe's face with this. Cool movie knife. All right, this one is cool. Into the neck knives, I have a few of their neck knives. Here's the Kiridashi neck knife, designed by Andrew Demko, I believe, this one. Great little knife. It's got one of those tips that makes me nervous. I'm just gonna drop it. I have a couple of these spikes This one is the, I don't know what they called it, the Talon maybe, or something like that, but I think it's like a Gununting. So that's why I like this. And I have this paracord on there to fatten up the handle a bit, and some skateboard tape there for traction, and it's a nice knife. Never carry it. Well, haven't in a long time. That looks kind of like a prison knife now that I look at it sitting there with the handle. Thank God I don't really know about that, but I've seen pictures. All right, spike, the updated version of the spike, and this is the Bowie. And as you can see, I dropped this one and took the very fine tip off the front, but still works fine. This is a nice Scandi grind, the 4160 steel, 4116 steel, and that handle is just really nice, very contoured. Cutlery lover, that's his favorite, I think, one of his favorite neck knives. Carries that a lot. He's a daily carrier of neck knives. Okay, here we go. Here's another spike. This is the Tanto. Put a little bit of jimping on the back. Works very nicely. Did that with a little Dremel. Couple more in this category. This was cool. This was a best man's gift, or a wedding party gift from a dear friend of mine. The Double Agent. It's cool. I carried this around his whole wedding, around my neck, and it wasn't even weird. With this one, I like to use like one of the rings if I'm kind of playing around with it, like pretty much like this. Or, just like this. This, is comfortable, but I don't know about locking two fingers in there. For some reason, it just doesn't, I don't know, doesn't do it for me. But I love the knife. And it's got a great, very, very thin Bowie blade. Okay, let's see here. A couple more of these, less robust. This is their FXG, is that what they call it? Their Grivery knives. This is the Karambit, as you can see, modeled after their, what is it, something Tiger Claw Karambit. Anyway, this one is in residence in the shower. This has been in our shower for years now, and it's just sort of a fixture there. And yeah, just in case, maybe I've seen too many movies, but I would hate to be caught naked in the shower with a stranger in the house or in the bathroom. This is another one of their night shade. I can't remember what they call them, but they're plastic knives. Now this is beautiful, light, feels great in the hand and everything, but you can tell these are 1 or 2 use blades. I mean, this is for an emergency. You got to stick it in someone, period. I mean, like, you're not doing anything else with this. You can't really open up boxes. I mean, this is sharp. If you took an athletic swipe at soft skin with this edge, you might open it up, but it won't be clean. So this is just like for stabbing your way out of trouble, I guess. I just like it because, I like variety. And then I have this one here, which is especially nasty, actually. It's very stout, very sturdy. You can see the difference between, so these are the smaller knives. Now I'm going to, I have some larger ones, not as many as I thought, funny enough. I think the bulk of my cold steel collection is in the folders, but I do have a fair amount of fixed blades and swords, a couple of swords. Where did I put I'm losing knives here, guys. All right, anyway, onto the fixed blades. Okay. In the get home bag in my car, I keep this, the GI Tanto, an inexpensive carbon steel blade. I think this is 1075 maybe. High impact, tough kind of beater steel, and it's got a great edge and it's pretty thin, so you can get some good, you can get some slicey work done there. This swedge comes to about a 0 edge, so you could definitely sharpen that. These are really cool, and they cost very little, and I think you could put them to a good amount of work. The Master, what is this? The GI Tanto. Then I have this one. This is the, what do they call this? Oh, the Recon Tanto. These are cool. This is a great feeling knife. Frankly and honestly, I have done nothing with it but just, you know, swing it around basically. But the way it feels great. I feel like you could do a lot of work with this, even in the woods. You know, you can choke up here like this because there's enough left of the ricasso, and the blade is pretty stout. I think you could put this Tanto to good outdoor use, but I'm not an outdoorsman, so I can't say for sure. So this is what I was looking for before, just to put it in there, that's the Master Tanto, my first nice knife and entree into cold steel back in the day. This is my wife's bug out bag knife. It's the SRK, survival rescue knife. A great stout clip point blade, very sharp, very nice. This one was made in the USA, so I don't know what that means. I can't remember when I got it or what steel it is. Oh, carbon V. Not sure if that's how good that is, but I know that they make these two knives in a variety of steels, starting from a lower end and obviously terminating in a higher end. This one, the Trailmaster, I love this knife. I've had this for a long time, at least 20 years I've had this, and it's been on a couple of adventures, and back when I was a little more adventuresome. And it is a great knife, and now I use it to split wood for kindling out at the fire pit. It really does great. It's like a giant wedge if you look at it. This is 1/4 inch, and the swedge is also 0 ground. And if you use this, and so you can't, you know, cut paper with it or anything, but if you use this in a flicking backward motion, if you were fighting and you did that, there's a way of fighting with a Bowie knife where you use this clip point by kind of gouging backwards to an incoming hand or knife or whatever, and that could definitely do damage without being like shaving sharp like this side is. And by the way, I've run this through a lot of dried wood, and I haven't really sharpened it recently. And so it's great steel. This is carbon V, so I guess this, which is also carbon V, is going to be just about as robust as this, minus the thickness. And these all have the grippy, sort of rubbery textured handles. I think they have a proprietary name for it, but I'm not sure what it is. Can't remember. All right, two more here, two more. Probably my favorite, the Laredo Bowie. I'm gonna hold this down here so it fits in this. I'm just gonna put it right here. So this, I think this must be some form of high carbon steel. I'm not sure. It may have said there once, but I tried putting a patina on it and it took very successfully, so I've always left it on there. This knife, when I got it, kept scraping in and out of the sheath, and the faux cocobolo handle right here cracked, and I never sent it back. I was like, this one is mine with all of its imperfections, and frankly, I think I was just being impatient, probably didn't want to send it back. But this knife is incredible. If you haven't had one or held one, and you're watched this far in the video, you obviously like cold steels. This one is worth your time and money. I can say that. I have grip tape on here because, I don't know, the concern was always this coffin-shaped handle which swells towards the bottom and is good for holding it in. But I always thought if my hands were sweaty or, you know, wet with gore, this would slip out of my hand. So I put the tape there. You know I'm being facetious when I say that. Same thing with this, the 0 ground swedge. Nice, long, curved clip. This would, you know, this could do some damage on the back cut there. I'm gonna do get the Bowies next to each other and finally, this, a gift from my brother. The Chaos Kukri. Look at this. I mean, there you go. All right, the Chaos Kukri. You can get these for next to nothing. The Chaos series, I'm not sure why. I guess the steel isn't as high end, and maybe they're produced somewhere that's cost less to make. But these Chaos knives are pretty cool. It comes in a Tanto. You can get it in a double-edged, you know, in a dagger, or in a big fat Marauder style Bowie. This obviously is the Kukri, and this thing is awesome, man. I gotta say, it's got this noggin knocker back here. You can put a dent in someone with that, and then this handle, this big cast aluminum handle, is quite comfortable, even with that. You know, these are like flip-flops. You either like something going between your toes or you don't. It's kind of the same thing I find with knife handles, but to me, that doesn't bother me. So it comes in, it's full tang, screwed on down here, and then mechanically attached here. So it's pretty strong, but you know, I mean, well, I should say, I would imagine it's pretty strong, but I would also imagine that, you know, it's a stick tang, so maybe it's not as robust as something that is a true full tang, you know, where it comes to the edge. But in any case, this knife is really cool. And it's one of those, you hear a knock in the middle of the night. This might be a good one to pull out, just because, I mean, I would run like hell if I saw someone carrying this thing and coming at me all angrily and righteous because I broke into their home. All right, well, there you have it. That is my Cold Steel fixed blade collection. Thank you for watching. I have one more video left in me of Cold Steel, and it will include one sword, a machete, tomahawk, warhammer, sword cane, these kinds of things, because they make a lot of cool other things besides knives that people like you and me might gravitate towards, and those products are also pretty cool. So yeah, it's kind of shameful I have so many, but at least I can hand them down. I'm sure my daughters will want all of these. All right, thanks for tuning in. Take care.